It is Indiana in the Morning, presented by First Commonwealth Bank, here on the Voice of Indiana County, WCCS 101.1 FM, AM 1160. Our interviews are presented by Marcus & Mack, a law firm representing injured people. Yesterday, we focused a little bit on back to school for Indiana School District in a little bit of a way with outdoor classroom talk. And joining us this morning to talk about how things are going in the Penns Manor School District is their superintendent, Daren Johnston. Daren, it is great to have you on our show today. Thanks again for joining us.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, Josh.
All right, so preparations for Penns Manor. Let's actually go back a little bit and talk about this past year. Penns Manor, I think, was one of the school districts that kind of handled the COVID-19 situation, I think, the best, because we regularly received reports about what was going on with the district, full transparency, which I think is very commendable, and a lot of the appropriate steps taken, and from what I understand, not a lot of student time lost from the pandemic because of that.
That is correct. So I just want to take an opportunity, first of all, to thank all of our stakeholders within our school district. And what I mean by stakeholders is our students. First of all, our students complied with all the protocols we had in place for mitigating the COVID-19 situation. They listened to our faculty and staff and our parents. Hats off to them because they supported what we were doing throughout the school year. And also all of our employees, everywhere from our Tri-County bus drivers and van drivers, all those folks supporting us and providing, disinfecting all of our vehicles daily, clear up through to our staff of our cleaners, our maintenance, all of our support staff from secretaries to instructional assistants, and our teachers. And I have an administrative group that we sat numerous days, actually every Tuesday and Thursday last summer at this time. Our administration and teachers were online with each other, planning how our school year would look last year. So I have to say, people always say thank you to me as the superintendent, but I have to say, no, surrounded by a lot of people who work together to make it happen. So hats off to all of our stakeholders.
It's that team that really got things together. Also the school board, too, because they also had to adapt to working in a different environment. Over the past year, the board went to virtual meeting formats, and you're still doing streaming meetings from what it looks like. Is that going to be something that continues in the future? Because I think a lot of people have been attending these virtual meetings, or at least the simulcasts of them on YouTube.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Our plan is to continue to be open to our community in that format. I know that starting in September, all of our board members are going to come back into our school board meetings in person. That's our plan. But we have heard loud and clear from folks that they appreciate the fact that they're at home and they can hear everything that's going on. So our plan is definitely to move forward, continuing to do and offer both options.
So with the Penns Manor School District now getting ready for the next school year, how have things changed in those preparations in getting things ready now that we've gone through this pandemic?
Sure. So just like all the other school districts, we're required to have our health and safety plan in place, which we have. Our school board has, again, as you indicated, has been tremendous support for anything the administration has wanted to do through this past school year and the upcoming school year. Our health and safety plan focuses on following CDC guidelines. So the communication that will go out from our administrative team will be that everyone needs to be flexible. And that, I know, creates some stress at times. But depending on what we encounter through this year, we will adjust to our mitigation efforts throughout this coming school year. But our plan at this point is that we will open our schools up for 5-day-a-week instruction in person. We always offer our Penns Manor Cyber School, but all of our instruction will be in person at the beginning of the year. We are also the option to wear masks in our school buildings and on school property. Again, it's a choice. We do have to put out, and everybody's well aware of this, that the risk of not being vaccinated, and we're communicating that loud and clear to everyone, and everyone knows that. But we're leaving that up to student and parent choice. We do have one requirement, though, that I know that it's been the discussion in a number of locations, and that is the requirement of wearing a mask on public transportation. So I just want to put that out there for our listeners, too, that in Penns Manor, that although our health and safety plan says that you have the option of wearing a face covering when you're coming into the buildings, right now, federal requirement that is in public transportation, you must wear a face covering.
Right, I was about to say, those are federal mandates rather than the local mandates.
Right. So we will need to follow that. But then at the beginning of the school year, that once you get off the bus, that will be an option for students and our employees. I do have to, again, emphasize that if we come upon cases, whether that we're mandated by the Department of Education or the Department of Health, if we encounter cases here as an administrative team, we will put in place mitigation efforts, and I need people to know and to be flexible. The fact that, hey, if we encounter cases in a building, we will move to mitigation efforts, meaning that we will require masking and things of that sort. But at this point, we're moving forward with the option of wearing a mask.
We're talking with Daren Johnston, the superintendent of the Penns Manor School District here on Indiana in the Morning, presented by First Commonwealth Bank, and we're talking about how things are going and getting ready for the school year. Daren, have you heard a lot from your students? I asked this yesterday and earlier in the week when I talked with Indiana Superintendent Michael Vukovic. Have the students expressed, I guess, an interest in getting back to quote-unquote normal?
Good question, Josh. I will have to tell you that there was numerous thank yous that came from our graduating class last year. Giving thanks to our faculty, staff, and administration, just saying thank you for getting us through a year where we were in person. So I was very shocked that students would walk up to you and say, hey, thanks for keeping us in school. So it meant a lot to the administrative group and giving that feedback to the board. And again, still hear the same thing, is that we understand, but keep trying. That's what parents would tell us, that they were very pleased. We just actually did a SWOT analysis as we're going through our comprehensive planning, and that's one of our biggest strengths that come out of our survey, was the fact that parents appreciated the fact that all employees, along with board, supported the fact of working through. And trust me, if you talk to our faculty, staff, and administration, it was not easy doing contact tracing, the efforts that we went through in quarantining students, a lot of work. But yes, going back to the students, it's what you're here for.
Yeah.
So when a student walks up to you and says, hey, thanks for keeping us in school, it means a lot.
That does mean a lot. A very refreshing note to hear. So let's talk about extracurricular activities. Obviously, those were curtailed, whether they be athletics. There was a modified way to do football last year, and also a modified way to do a lot of the sporting activities. Also the stuff that of the liberal arts, the theater, the music programs, etc. So I would imagine that those teachers are getting ready, and those coaches, I should say, as well, are also chomping at the bit to get going once again.
They are. First official practice for all of our fall sports is Monday, August 16th. Prior to that, on August 9th, the football teams will go through heat acclimation. Our plan is to move forward with how sports were run 2 years ago. And so, again, although we're communicating that's the way we're moving forward with our plan, again, I emphasize the fact that everyone has to be flexible and understanding.
Right.
So if we come upon situations where we encounter cases, we may have to shift to some other protocol. But at this point, we are moving forward back to our regular fall sports starting August 16th.
And I've been asking this question. It's going to be our last question, but it's probably the easy one for you. When is the school year starting for Penns Manor?
Sure. So it is a little different for us this year. Typically in the past, we've had 2 in-service days. This year, we're having 2 in-service days and an Act 80 day to start out our school year. So teachers come back to us on August 23rd. They will be with us 23rd, 24th, and 25th. So we have 3 days that we're with teachers. First student day is Thursday, August 26th for everyone.
And I'm sure a lot of students are looking forward to it. Daren Johnston, thank you very much for joining us here on Indiana in the Morning. All the best to you and the staff, faculty, and students over at Penns Manor. Please keep in touch.
Absolutely. Thank you, Josh.
Thank you. Daren Johnston, Superintendent of the Penns Manor School District, joining us this morning on Indiana in the Morning, presented by First Commonwealth Bank. Our interview is presented by Marcus & Mack, a law firm representing injured people.